Founders. Who is a founder? What is a founder? What is a principal founder? Today we're going to learn exactly what a founder is and why we should care. Question. Why does Mark call himself principal instead of co-founder? Well, that's very simple. I was principal founder, by every definition of the word, and I don't believe anyone has ever questioned that before until I decided to run for board of directors in 2020. And now it's been called into question, and my old rival and protege, Andrew LeCody, has claimed that I am not. This is information perpetuated by my political opponent, James Henningson, and his friends. Co implies an equivalency. Mark doesn't seem to be able to share any credit or anything on a basic human level. He must put himself on a higher plane so he can feel good about himself. He prefers to push the idea that he was the sole driving force behind it. That is a very interesting perspective, and it's notable that you've decided to separate me from the human race by suggesting that I cannot give credit on a human level. That is not true. I've given lots of credit to everyone. Everybody deserves credit for the things that they do. I want to thank Andrew LeCody for knocking it out of the park when it came to making sure that the vision for this organization was realized. He spent 5 years devoting himself to Dallas Makerspace, and he was president during that time, learning as he went along, just like most of us do. And I'm really glad that he was able to make such a huge impact on Dallas Makerspace. There was a period in which I refrained from taking any title at all because I wanted Dallas Makerspace to be a place where people could take ownership and feel like they were making a serious contribution. And if I was in the way by claiming a title, I don't believe Dallas Makerspace would be the organization it is today. I have spent a great portion of my life achieving many accomplishments, but not to feel good about myself, but to make a difference in the world, and sometimes to provide for my family. Mark was even doing that kind of thing early on, equating the space with himself. For a long time, I thought he was the founder until Ed Parody told me he'd shown up like a month before I did. Toenolla member, Dallas Makerspace. I will say that when I met Ed for the first time, I thought he was brilliant, so unless you started in March, a month after our first meeting, then I would say you are mistaken. I never claimed a title. She just thought I was the founder. But she and I never seemed to get along back then, despite some active effort on my part early on. But we had some fundamental differences in vision. And she wasn't even a member. At least, not until me and Peter let it be known that we were going to have her cited for trespassing. I guess she's never forgiven me for that. But when I made an attempt to reconcile a few months ago, she was very clear that she didn't want to have anything to do with it. She wanted to be angry at me. She wanted to be an enemy with me. So here we are. Whatever this is, sour grapes, whatever. She thought I was the founder then, but she's changed her mind. Go figure. And this has been going on for 10 years. She won't let it go. As I stated in my 2010 video, I signed up for the DPRG only 45 minutes after I found out about the DPRG, as evident by my email receipt from January 31st, 2010. Our first meeting was in February. I was there from the beginning. Before we even had the first meeting, I interfaced with Steve and Ed. During that time, I was part of the DPRG, very active in discussions. I talked with Ed on a regular basis. We discussed lots of things when it came to the vision of Dallas Makerspace. They wanted a building, a place to meet and hold robot competitions. That was it. That was their vision. It's just that later, we as a newly formed maker community, we had a much, much bigger vision. But I will give them credit. They came up with the idea and initiated community effort that wrangled me in. Principal founders of Dallas Makerspace is the DPRG, if you assign it a single entity, in my opinion. I'll say with no argument that Mark has made significant contributions, but there were plenty of other people who did the same or greater. I agree, there are a number of people that did the same or greater, but that does not make me any less of a principal founder. I'd like to thank Paul Wilson for all of the work that he has volunteered to do over the years. He's been a great asset to Dallas Makerspace. I do regret some of the volunteerism that he's done recently, in which he failed to establish that we do have history, and that I actually tried to recruit him in 2010 and told him that he was not the type of member that we were looking for. I suppose that's one thing that could possibly make him bias and want me gone from this organization. Principal founder of Dallas Makerspace is not the DPRG, although there are members of the DPRG that had the idea and were certainly founders of Dallas Makerspace. The DPRG voted that Dallas Makerspace would be self-managing and independent. It was that way from the beginning, except for a shared bank account and informal agreements. We were effectively independent the entire time. I have spent most of my time making sure that other people did more than I did, and with the help of friends, we established an organization that all of you enjoy today. And that was the whole reason for my existence at the time. Thank you, Mr. Paul Wilson, the bias arbiter that was responsible for having me banned from Dallas Makerspace. We don't dispute he's been here since the beginning, but as it's been pointed out by many of the people who were there and involved, it was a group effort that began well before him and well before the paperwork. It is true that this organization began before the paperwork, but it did not begin before me. The idea came before me, but I was there since the beginning, leading the way the entire time, responsible for many of the decisions, if not most of the decisions, and the responsibility only increased as leadership dropped away. He's trying to weigh in on a position he knows nothing about. Where was he 10 years ago? Was he even in Dallas? Was he in Texas? This dumbass wasn't around. And if he's leading by example, if he's a leader at all, he's a leader in inept pontification. I found myself in an increasingly prolific role involved in all of the leadership decisions of Dallas Makerspace, and it continued for over a year. I will point out, though, that if by paperwork you mean the founding documents, then yes, I filed the founding documents, as well as lots of other paperwork, including the bank account that you currently use today. If you take a look at the documentation the next time you go to the bank, you will see my signature is on the first page. I don't think anyone would have an issue with him saying he was a founding member or something along those lines. I agree, Mr. LeCody was a founding member. I was a founding member, and I know this because I created the term founding member. Founding member, any Dallas Makerspace member who paid membership dues on or before opening day. If I recall correctly, Andrew LeCody signed up on opening day. I know because I signed up Mr. LeCody, and then I signed up a crap load of other people. So, what is a principal founder? Well, in our case, I will say that a principal founder developed the business model, recruited most of the founding members, guaranteed viability by ensuring multiple people who were on the lease, including myself, cultivated Dallas Makerspace culture, served as founding director, served as founding de facto president, secretary, and treasurer, established the vision for growth, established the vision for self-sufficiency, mentored and groomed most of the future leadership, including Andrew LeCody and Robert Davidson, created the first real Dallas Makerspace website, gave the first tours, first to establish a culture of members giving tours, wrote copy for the original wiki, website, and blog, did most of the initial online marketing, established and enforced most of the initial rules and policies, filed all of the formation documents, wrote the bylaws, unilaterally made most of the major business decisions for the first year until a board was elected, split us off from the DPRG, and made Dallas Makerspace completely independent, made sure that Dallas Makerspace would be a community-run organization so that it couldn't be taken over by anyone, including me. And then, of course, the most important thing for a principal founder to do would be to make sure there was sufficient leadership to carry forward the vision without me. And I'm sure there's more, but those are just the things that I can remember offhand. Lots of people have ideas, but ideas alone are a dime a dozen. It's those rare people who actually take action on abstract ideas that we call principal founders. And everyone else just follows the road that's laid out for them. Now, to all those leaders at Dallas Makerspace, and to all the former leaders, even those we call leaders who aren't, thank you all for your hard work. Thank you for helping me to realize my vision. And a very special thank you to those that took my vision and made it your own. Many people want to be leaders, although what they really want is power. Power is getting people to do things because of position, money, and fear. You, the leadership at Dallas Makerspace, have given yourselves positional power. You've taken control of money from membership dues. And you've instilled fear through your use of expulsion, draconian rules, and verbal, emotional, and psychological abuse. And let's not forget your willingness to undermine a fair democratic system by banning me just 2 days before I could win a board seat in the 2020 election. Often, the best leaders are invisible. A group of people living up to their full potential is far more capable than any single person living up to their full potential. Dallas Makerspace had no formal leadership when we started, but we had leadership. Now, I chose to be invisible when we started Dallas Makerspace because it eliminated any trace of ego or self-centered interest that I had so that I could truly focus on leading and not have to worry about any battling of other people's egos. Now, that's not to say that I didn't have ego, because I did. We all do. But I wanted to see the vision of bringing a makerspace to Dallas far more than I wanted the power of controlling it. I didn't take credit for shit. I gave it. That's what leaders do. Of note, it was brought to my attention that I should address bylaws. I wrote the bylaws and made commits every time I made a change. The commit history shows each of these updates in real time. To learn every detail, the link to the wiki history of the bylaws has been provided in the description below. So, like me or hate me, ban me or not, I'm here forever. And with that, that's all I have for now. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next time.